If you're a writer or a producer and you've submitted your tracks to a library or a music supervisor and they told you that they were going to get you feedback within, 24, 48 hours, maybe a week at the most, and here you are, still nothing in your inbox, still no phone calls, still nothing coming through indicating that they have any feedback for you, that they've accepted your track or maybe a whole album that you've submitted, and you kind of feel a little bit hopeless and you feel like there's no power in it for you, that you can't really do anything about this, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting for the response that you've been hoping for a long time. It's a frustrating place to be. Trust me, I've been there. Actually, fairly recently, I was in a situation like that where I just had my fingers crossed and I was hoping to hear back something, and I got a little impatient. Of course, I was restraining myself from hounding them, but we're all human, guys. We're all in that situation from time to time. It's like asking for a date out and you don't get the response back. And now, does that mean that they're busy? Or does that mean they're not interested? It's that sort of tense feeling of like, ugh, I just want to have a definite answer. I just would like to know what's going on. Or in other situations, let's say you've submitted for a custom queue. Sometimes in the syndicate, I'll offer these opportunities where we submit. Of course, they need music like right away. You got to submit your tracks within like 24 hours for a lot of these. But then you kind of just sit and wait until you find out who got the gig, who got the placement. It might take a couple of weeks for the company to go through all their people, all their departments. There's a lot of bureaucracy sometimes involved with big budgets for commercials and that kind of thing. So the point of this video is to get you out of that waiting mindset and out of that sort of helplessness feeling that you probably, maybe you're in it right now, or if not, you probably will be in the future at some point. We all do at some point. And my best advice for when you're in those situations, when you're just waiting for that feedback or that acceptance letter or just a notification that you were accepted or rejected, go get to work, okay? Rather than sitting around dwelling on that fear and then anxiety of like, is it going to get accepted? Did I get it? Am I in this catalog? Did I get the placement? Whatever. Go make yourself busy, okay? A hard and fast rule that I tell everybody, especially getting into the licensing business, is you should not be waiting for anybody at any time in this business. If you've got a library that you're working with now, and they're slow and they're not keeping you busy, they're not offering you enough gigs, they're not telling you, or you should be asking them as well, like, what music do you guys need? But if they're not supplying you with enough, opportunities and enough, like, yeah, well, give us this, give us that. Well, what you need to do is go shop for new and more libraries to work with, okay? So sitting around and going, well, I want to be more busy, but my library won't give me any more work. You're being a victim at that point. You've lost all your power. There's nothing you can do at that point if you're just accepting your place and your plot right there. But you actually have a lot of power. You can actually go out and shop and create new tracks. If you don't have new tracks to go shop to new companies or new libraries or supervisors or anybody, guess what? That's what you should be doing. While you wait for this other submission or opportunity to come through, there should be something else you've always got your mind on and what you've always got looking forward to in the future. If I were to sit around and wait for to hear back for opportunities that I've submitted to, I would have progressed in this business. And if it just got to the point where that anxiety of not knowing what happened on my previous gig got in the way of my productivity moving forward, it totally would have just sidewinded my entire career. It totally would have just taken me off course. And I wouldn't nearly have gotten as many tracks done in my career as I have. Basically, how I see it is once a gig is delivered and sent off, and let's say, there might be like a 2 or 3 day period or maybe a week or two that I don't know if I get placed, it's like out of sight, out of mind. It's like, okay, I've submitted it, I followed the directions, I hit the deadlines, and now let me move on to what's next, what's happening next. It's just something that you have to get used to in this business. And I know you want to find out, like, did you get it? And there's that sort of anticipation that you really, sometimes it's hard to sleep. And I totally get that feeling. I know how that feeling is. The best thing you can do when you're sitting around and not sure what's happening with your current situations, just go get to work, because 2 things will happen. 1, it'll keep your mind off of it, right? Sitting around and worrying about it, what is that doing for you? You can't control it. It's not going to speed up the process at all. So that is completely a waste of time, just sitting around and being anxious about it. And number 2, that's time where you can be productive. Okay, there's always something you could be doing in this business. I don't care if you have no libraries you're working with, or you have 2 libraries, or you're just now shopping to your first couple libraries. You can either be building a catalog, building an album, establishing relationships, studying your craft, getting better at production, getting new plugins, getting new sounds. there is something you can be doing at all times. So, the name of the game here is just stop waiting for things to happen. Stop waiting for people to get back to you. Stop waiting for anything. Just get forward. You just get going. Just get started with whatever project that you'd like to get started on. And, what I'll end this on is that if you are finding in your career many times that you're stagnant, where a lot of things happen and then you kind of just slow down for a month or two and nothing really happens, and then another gig comes and you get excited, you do that, and then nothing happens for a while. If it's kind of the stop and go process and this stop and go speed in your career, likely that's due to the fact that you have maybe never planned out a long-term plan for your career, and that you're maybe just taking it one gig at a time and hoping you get a gig, as opposed to thinking, how do I create long-term relationships with music libraries? How do I make sure that I have a large enough catalog that I can sustain myself full time? So if you don't have those larger goals, maybe you have like a 2-year goal for this many tracks you want to have done, this many libraries you want to be partnered with. If you've never laid that out, well, yeah, I mean, I can understand that you're sort of excited when there's a gig, but when there's no opportunity in front of you, you just don't know what to do. But you got to take all of those like dull sort of down moments in your career and take that as an opportunity. I always see, like, if I don't have a lot of stuff coming my way, I'm like, great, now I can actually build a new album, right? I can either shop that to the people that I currently know. If I want to maybe open up a new door with a new company, I can do that as well. I see it as like free time. It's kind of like playtime for me. It's like I get to go create cool new music and try something else out, and maybe try to do something that I haven't done. Because what happens is your success can actually confine you a little bit in this business. Like a lot of the relationships that I have now, they have direct relationships with reality shows, TV shows, that kind of thing. But when they ask me for music, it's like they need it to be a specific kind. They give me the references, and it's like, we need this for this show, and give it to us in the next couple of days, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but they are almost, in a sense, these gigs are dictating what kind of music you make in order to get the placement. But once in a while, it's great to just kind of get back into your own creative swing of like, well, what do I want to do? If I could put together a really cool album that does serve the marketplace. Of course, you don't want to get completely into your own world where you're making abstract music that nobody can use. But if it can be usable and licensable, and it's something you love, but it's not, really connected to some of the current gigs you're getting, it's free time, right? Any of those dull moments in your career where there's not a lot going on and the phone's not ringing that much, which, by the way, the holiday season is one of those times. There's not so much going on. This is an opportunity to do that, to create the kind of music that you really want to. So starting today, no longer, if you want to get rid of these dull moments and these sort of periods of just waiting and feeling like you're not making that much progress, you got to stop that waiting stuff. Stop it right now.